Hello, back again on the Top Recap channel. This time I will tell a movie entitled The Devil's Backbone. Let's get straight into the storyline. The story begins by showing a car just arriving at the Spanish orphanage. A man named Ayala and a boy named Carlos get out of it. Mr. Ayala immediately sees the head of the orphanage, Dr. Casares, and Carmen. Meanwhile, Carlos is interested in a large bomb stuck in the ground in the front yard. Carlos was suddenly distracted when he saw a child in the kitchen. Carlos approached, but the figure disappeared. Carlos only saw a shadow passing by. Soon 2 children from the orphanage said hello. Then Carlos went with them to show them some comics and toys he had brought. While they were playing, a boy named Jaime came to interrupt them, and they argued. When Ayala came calling, Ayala put Carlos's suitcase down and rushed out, leaving Carlos alone in the orphanage. Carlos didn't expect to end up at the orphanage because he only came to accompany Mr. Ayala, who was visiting the orphanage. Dr. Casares soon came to comfort him. Then Carmen took Carlos to the room and gave him the key to the cabinet. That night, 2 of the orphanage's oldest children, Jacinto and Conchita, who were also lovers, were talking in the front yard of the orphanage. When the atmosphere felt colder, they went into the room. While in his room, Carlos saw scratches on the wall that read Santi's name. Carlos mentioned the name, and then suddenly heard the sound of heavy breathing from a shadowy figure behind the curtain. But when the curtain was opened, there was nothing behind it. Carlos carefully checked under the bed, and suddenly, the jug spilled. Then Carlos saw footprints and a shadow crossing the hallway in front of the room. Soon Jaime and his friends came to Carlos. They forced Carlos to fetch water from the well to refill the water jug, even though they were forbidden to go out at night. Carlos, accompanied by Jaime, still went to the well in the kitchen. In the courtyard, Jaime said something was living in this bomb, and he knew they were there. Carlos, therefore, put his ear to the bomb. But when Jacinto passed by, they quickly hid, secretly peeked, and found out about the relationship between Jacinto and Conchita. They entered the kitchen through the crack in the door and fetched water. After getting the water, Jaime immediately got out of there. But when it was Carlos's turn, suddenly some scissors fell, and the sound disturbed Jacinto, who was making love with Conchita. Jacinto went to check. Noticing Jacinto's arrival, Carlos immediately went into hiding. Jacinto didn't know his whereabouts, and didn't suspect anything was happening in the room. Then Jacinto opened the wall, in which there was a secret safe. Jacinto tried to open it with his key, but his attempt failed. Suddenly the wind blew out the lights. Jacinto stared at the basement room, then left, and locked the kitchen using a chain. After Jacinto's leaving, Carlos also came out of hiding. Suddenly there was the sound of heavy breathing from the basement. So Carlos, who was curious, slowly descended the stairs. Carlos kept walking, until at the pool at the end of the room, a shadow flashed, which turned out to be the spirit of a child. For a moment, the spirit disappeared, and then reappeared, tapping Carlos on the shoulder. But Carlos could not see his form. Carlos only found blood floating in front of him, and a voice said, "They would all die." Carlos, terrified, immediately ran away with the spirit of the child still following him. But the door was too narrow, so Carlos had to remove his clothes to escape. Arriving in the courtyard from the room's window, Jaime threw a stone from the catapult that broke the jug. The noise made Jacinto come back and arrest Carlos. Therefore, Carlos and his friends were punished to tidying up all the statues in the orphanage. After that, Carlos went to the basement. There, Carlos tried to communicate with the spirit. But Jaime and Marcos carried knives in anger because they also received punishment. They threw Carlos. Then Carlos responded by throwing a stone that accidentally knocked Jaime into the pool. Seeing that, Carlos immediately dives to save Jaime. Without realizing it, they saw the child's spirit's body at the pool's bottom. Jacinto suddenly arrived and became angry when he found a knife on the floor. Carlos admitted that the knife was his to protect his friends. To create a warning, Jacinto scratched a wound on Carlos's cheek. The scene moves to Carlos, who is being treated by Dr. Casares. Carlos also told him about the spirit of the child in the basement. But as a man of science, the doctor denies all of Carlos's stories. Dr. Casares then showed his production potion made from fetal vertebrae, which is efficacious for treating various diseases he used to consume. But then Carlos became frightened and said goodbye and left. In the evening, the children gathered to discuss the sound of heavy breathing they often heard. But the discussion made Jaime angry, and he left them. Galvez continued his story, believing that the sound of breathing was that of a child named Santi, who while at the orphanage, occupied Carlos's bed number 12. Santi mysteriously disappeared the night of the bomb attack. The teachers believe that Santi got scared and ran away from the orphanage. Meanwhile, it unexpectedly turns out that Jacinto is having an affair with Carmen. Jacinto did this for a reason, to get the key to the safe held by Carmen. The next day, while helping Jacinto pack Dr. Casares' Limbo water production for sale, Jaime gave a ring to Conchita. Dr. Casares then went with Conchita to sell his goods. Arriving at his destination at night, Dr. Casares was shocked to see Ayala among the prisoners of war who were executed by the soldiers. While Carlos was opening Jaime's drawing book, he found a picture of a child with a red stain on his head. So Carlos suspects that Jaime knows something that happened to Santi. Then Carlos went to the front yard. He asked Baum to tell Santi's current whereabouts. Suddenly a ribbon floated into the kitchen. From the darkness, Santi appeared, saying that many of them would die. Carlos ran scared, but Santi continued to follow him into the hallway. At that time, all the doors were locked except the wardrobe room. Carlos locked himself up and fell asleep there. The next day, Dr. Casares tells of the dire situation he saw last night. He then planned an escape with all the orphanage children, using the gold in the safe. But when opening the safe, Jacinto suddenly came and asked for all the gold inside. There was an argument between Carmen and Jacinto. Finally, Dr. Casares came with a gun and forced Jacinto to leave the orphanage. After that, they immediately packed their belongings to leave the orphanage. When Conchita went to the warehouse to get fuel, it turned out the fuel had disappeared. Conchita only found the remaining oil, which was already empty. Conchita then went to the kitchen next to the room where the children gathered. Conchita then found Jacinto, who was pouring oil all over the kitchen. Jacinto then threw a cigarette which caught the oil cans and quickly spread. Dr. Casares immediately moved to secure the children, while Carmen picked up Alma, who was trying to extinguish the fire. But as they were about to leave, a huge explosion from the oil cans killed several orphanage children. Dr. Casares was also injured in the explosion. Dr. Casares rushed in after the fire was extinguished and found Carmen dying. Finally, Carmen died in the arms of Dr. Casares. Carmen's death left a deep wound for Dr. Casares. Then Dr. Casares sat in front of the upstairs window, waiting for Jacinto's arrival. Meanwhile, Conchita decided to walk into town to seek help. With Jaime's ring, Conchita began her long journey. This incident made them abandon their escape plans. The children slept in a makeshift room. At that time, Jaime told Carlos about Santi, who was none other than his close friend. One night Jaime was with Santi looking for snails in the basement kitchen pond. Suddenly heard a suspicious sound, so Santi went to check. In the kitchen, Santi saw Jacinto trying to open the safe. But Jacinto soon found out where he was, and tried to catch Santi. Santi quickly warned Jaime to leave immediately and hide. But Santi was caught by Jacinto. There Jacinto pushed Santi, who unexpectedly pushed Santi's head. When Jacinto went out looking for equipment, Jaime came out to check on Santi's condition. But Santi, unable to survive, finally died in front of Jaime. Soon Jacinto came to tie Santi's body with stones, and then drowned him at the bottom of the pool. Returning to the room, Jaime saw several fighter planes passing by, and then dropped a bomb that landed right in front of him. But the bomb did not explode. This incident and Jacinto's secret later traumatized Jaime. So reluctant to discuss anything about Santi, the scene moves to Conchita, who stops a passing car, but it turns out that the car was driven by Jacinto and his friends. Then Jacinto came to seduce Conchita to side with him, but Conchita refused, so Jacinto killed her. Upstairs, the doctor with Carlos and Jaime noticed Jacinto's arrival. But Jacinto realized his existence was being watched and went to outwit and wait for an opportunity. While cleaning up, Carlos found Santi already in the room. At that time, Santi asked Carlos to bring Jacinto to him. Hearing that, Carlos immediately looked for Jaime. But Jaime was no longer visible. There was only Dr. Casares, who was dead, sitting in his chair. Soon, Jacinto came with Jaime. Then they locked up all the children in the storage room, while Jacinto and his friends tried to open the safe. In the room, Jaime encouraged them by revealing that Jacinto was Santi's killer. Jaime asks his friends not to be afraid to fight back, even though they are small, but they win in numbers and can make a weapon. For that, Jaime helped Galvez out through the window to open the door. But Galvez fell and sprained his leg. Moments later, someone came to Galvez. Then from inside came the sound of someone opening the door. They came to Galvez, and Galvez said that Dr. Casares came to him and opened the door to the warehouse. Then Dr. Casares left, leaving only his handkerchief behind. Meanwhile, Jacinto didn't find any gold in the safe. They only found some of the orphanage's documents inside. So the next day, the two disappointed friends left the orphanage, leaving Jacinto behind. But afterward, Jacinto found the gold stored in Carmen's prosthetic leg. While he was storing the gold, Jaime came to challenge Jacinto. Then they ran and split up in the basement kitchen. There Carlos, with Marcus and Galvez, stood facing Jacinto. When Jacinto was about to shoot, Jaime suddenly thrust a spear into Jacinto's right rib. Then they attacked together and herded Jacinto towards the pool. Then they pushed Jacinto to send him to Santi. Jacinto had difficulty swimming in the water because the wound and heavy gold drowned him. Soon Santi appeared and pulled Jacinto and took him away deeper and deeper to the bottom of the pool. After that, they came to Dr. Casares. In reality, Dr. Casares is dead. So it is known that the one who came to Galvez and opened the warehouse door was the spirit of Dr. Casares. This also makes Dr. Casares believe that spirits are real. But unfortunately, all of that can only be proven when Dr. Casares has become a spirit. In the end, Carlos, Jaime, and the surviving children left the orphanage, with the spirit of Dr. Casares accompanying their departure and recognizing that the spirit is real. And the movie was over. Don't forget to click subscribe, like, and comment.